think wins in a fight, you or Prime Floyd?
Me.
No questions?
Why would you think that I would say Floyd?
Not another guy in the world that can beat you right now. That's Mayweather level. Head-to-head at their welterweight primes, Bud versus Floyd. I feel like a lot of us might actually be picking Bud right now. But what he achieved, I cannot put him above Mayweather or Pacquiao because he got these opportunities so late.
It's the problem with Bud's career, right? It blooms kind of late.
Bud's been the baddest man for 12 years. But no one gave him credit because he didn't go tell you he was the man. He didn't market that. He just went out and fought and beat people and knocked people out. So he had to move up and take the bigger fight.
Terence Crawford confidently responded to Floyd Mayweather's audacious claim, demonstrating that even a dominant Mayweather could not defeat him. Crawford proudly reminded the world that he has never ducked a single fighter. Every challenge that came his way, he faced head-on, declared that history will remember him as a true warrior, one who never ran from greatness and surely wouldn't run from Mayweather.
When you start going like this, then that's when Floyd started taking over.
What do you want your legacy to be like when your career is all said and done? What do you want people to remember you for?
Everybody's asking me this question. I always be like, man, it's whatever it's their opinion. Everybody gonna have a different opinion of Terence Crawford, But one thing they can't say is I ducked anyone. I fought everyone that was available to fight.
Dan Rafael strongly believes Terence Crawford has reached a level where fighting again is no longer necessary to prove anything. His name, his dominance, and his accomplishments already speak louder than any future bout ever could. Crawford's resume glitters with achievements, sweeping entire divisions, unifying championships, and conquering elite opponents with authority. Even today, he shows no cracks, no decline, only continued excellence. Rafael stresses that when a fighter reaches this extraordinary height, the mission shifts. It's no longer about chasing validation. It's about guarding a legacy and demanding the recognition long overdue. Crawford has already gone beyond expectations, and piling on extra fights adds nothing. His sheer dominance, especially in recent years, has sealed his status as an all-time great.
So Terence Crawford do now? Like, what's the next thing that he does? Because you look around and go, is the only way that he really gets that ultimate chance if he goes up again? Do you say, what do you do?
I don't question. Yeah, I mean, he was asked those questions at the press conference. He made two things clear. One, he's not going back to 154, and I say that because some people suggest he's not possibly pursuing a fight with Ennis, who has his debut in the weight class coming up. Yeah. That's probably unlikely. He's not going to go back down in weight. And I mean, no disrespect to Ennis, but Ennis is a guy that's known within the diehards of boxing. He's not in any way known beyond the boundaries of the hardcore boxing fans. So I don't know if that makes sense for a lot of different reasons for him. Not to say I wouldn't, as a boxing fan, enjoy watching the fight. So, but I don't think he's going back to 154. He was asked about like a Benavides at 175, and he acknowledged that guy's really big. And that's maybe a bridge too far. He already went up to 2 weight classes to fight Canelo at 68. So it feels to me like he can either stay at 168 and defend this championship and look to the same types of names that were being thrown around as the types of guys that would have been in the mix for Canelo had he won the fight. And, he's going to have mandatories. Obviously, that's the first thing they'll have to look at. I mean, I don't know if he's not going to necessarily keep the belts if he's forced into a mandatory. He doesn't need the belts at this point, but it might be something appealing to him. For example, and Billy had a great fight on the undercard, although he's been ordered to fight a rematch in that fight. That was, fight of the year against Lester Martinez, candidate for fight of the year.
The brutal manner in which Terence Crawford dismantled Canelo Alvarez has ignited fiery debates across the boxing world. Fans and analysts immediately lined it up against Floyd Mayweather's earlier victory over the Mexican star. But while Mayweather defeated a much younger, still developing Canelo, Crawford dominated a more seasoned, experienced version of him, fueling arguments that Crawford's triumph might carry greater weight. Yet, as Luke Thomas pointed out, comparisons are not so simple. Mayweather's rise came early. He was already a global name, facing elite opponents while still in his 20s. His career trajectory was rapid, and his stardom arrived almost overnight. Crawford, by contrast, was held back by limited promotion and recognition. His prime spotlight moments came later, after years of being overlooked despite his skill set. That's why Thomas stresses perspective. Even if Crawford's performance looked more commanding, it doesn't automatically make him superior to Mayweather historically. Timing, career paths, and the eras they fought in all shape the legacy debate.
was a masterclass. One guy with outrageous skill offensively and defensively, simply making another very good fighter look lesser than. This was the other part. The people who watch MMA and then try to watch boxing through an MMA lens, I don't know what to tell you. You're actually missing the point. The kind of specific details and the depth of the technical ability far surpasses even what you can get at the highest level of MMA, because they don't have that level of skill. There is no equivalent in MMA to Bud Crawford, because there cannot be. Bud is the most talented boxer I've seen since Mayweather.
I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
To be fair to Floyd, he obviously had hand problems in this whole welterweight run, and it's why he took that long stretch off in 2007, 2008, 2009 area, and Floyd's brilliance to be able to be just as great in some ways at that age. We're not here trying to dunk on Floyd. When you get a victory like this, right now, straight up, Luke, you could say that there's not a welterweight, junior middleweight, middleweight, or maybe even super middleweight. When you could say over like a 4-division stretch, Bud cut down to any of these weights, that there's not another guy in the world that can beat you right now, that's Mayweather level. Head-to-head at their welterweight primes, Bud versus Floyd, I feel like a lot of us might actually be picking Bud right now. But what he achieved, I cannot put him above Mayweather or Pacquiao, because he got these opportunities so late.
The problem with Bud's career, right? It bloomed kind of late. I find Bud to be as defensively sound as I've ever seen a fighter. He can find you. There's nowhere to hide with him.
Like Floyd, he has such control over the terms, and it's just insane.
Buddy McGirt emerged as one of Terence Crawford's loudest admirers after the Canelo showdown, praising the performance as pure domination. From the opening bell, Crawford seized control, never letting Canelo dictate the pace or showcase his trademark aggression. McGirt stressed that Crawford's superiority was so overwhelming that a rematch would serve no purpose. The gulf in skill, strategy, and execution was crystal clear to anyone who witnessed the fight. He further declared that this victory finally delivers the legacy-defining moment Crawford had long chased. By decisively conquering an elite warrior like Canelo, Crawford secured the signature win that elevates him into boxing immortality. For McGirt, the verdict is final. Crawford has nothing left to prove. His triumph over Canelo has etched his name in history as a true icon of the sport.
Yes. Like, what fight would they watch? Right. I mean, it's. I don't know, man. I don't know what some of these guys be doing in this game, man. Some people, in situations like that, they should ask them, listen, just turn in your license, bro. Because there's no way in hell the fight was that close. Right. I mean, come on, man. It's not fair. It's not fair. You get a guy like Terence got in and dominate from beginning to end, and then you find out he needed the last 2 rounds to win. That's scary, man.
It is. And you see how you just mentioned scary. Now, a lot of people are saying, buddy, that type of beating, he's not going to want a rematch. But looking at those gold cards and knowing that, hey, you wasn't too far behind, even though, he did mention that, he's better than Mayweather. But, I mean, what's your thoughts? Do you feel like that was such a beating that Canelo wouldn't want a rematch?
No, I think that, in all honesty, personally, I think that Canelo's at that stage in his career right now, it's a rematch he don't need. He don't need it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? What we saw that night, that's the stage Canelo's at right now. I mean, he's fought everybody. He's did everything. You know what I mean? He passed the torch to the right guy. You know what I mean? He passed the torch to the right guy. You know what I mean? He lost it to Terence fair and square, and he passed the torch. So we're gonna have another fight, cool, but you don't need to. You have nothing. He has nothing to prove. He fought Terence and nobody else would.
When analysts weigh Terence Crawford against Floyd Mayweather, the conversation often turns to mental warfare as the true separator. While fans acknowledge Crawford's brilliance, his ability to switch stances, adjust on the fly, and dismantle opponents with ease, they argue that Mayweather brought an entirely different dimension. Floyd didn't just fight with his fists, he fought with his mind. His ability to dictate tempo, plant doubt, and manipulate strategies inside his opponents' heads made him far more dangerous than he appeared. He forced fighters to abandon game plans and walk into traps of his design. This psychological mastery, combined with unmatched defensive skill, is seen by many as the critical edge Mayweather held. Crawford's arsenal is unquestionable, but Floyd's aura of control remains legendary. The comparison highlights how close Crawford is to joining Mayweather among boxing's immortals, yet also how Floyd's mental depth continues to stand apart in the eyes of historians.
Hearns, I've seen Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler. Like I've seen all of those things, and those fights were wars. Floyd Mayweather is the best boxer I've ever seen. He's the most skilled boxer I've ever seen. Bud, this is just my opinion, is the baddest man I've seen wear boxing gloves. And here's why I say that. Here's why I say that. Bud is extremely skilled, right? Yet not as skilled as Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather made people look foolish, right? And so if I had to say who's the greatest I've seen, and Bud said it right, the best of an era and the best of an era, it's Floyd. But when I watched Bud against Canelo, there was this extreme skill on display, and there was a level of crazy that's different. There was a level of, and Floyd's extremely tough. Go back to Shane Mosley and the 2 punches he landed early in the fight and the way that he embarrassed him. I'm not saying that Floyd's not tough. Floyd's not a bad man. But there was domination inside that ring we saw this weekend. And there's no fear in him in the way that he's attacked, gaining notoriety. Bud's been the baddest man for 12 years. But no one gave him credit because he didn't go tell you he was the baddest man. He didn't market that. He just went out and fought, beat people, and knocked people out. So he had to move up and take the bigger fights and the better fights. And he was.
At this point, Terence Crawford has done what so many said he never could. He silenced critics, humbled doubters, and wrote his name into history with performances that cannot be erased. From Spence to Canelo, he has shown the world that greatness is not given. It is earned through fire, discipline, and an unshakable will to dominate. Whether or not fans debate him against Floyd Mayweather, one fact remains unchallenged. Bud Crawford is an icon whose legacy is secure. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button, drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe and share for more electrifying boxing content.